Good morning, Chile. Amazing venue. Congratulations. I've been able to meet with quite many startups here in Chile, lots of people. I'm amazed with the interest that people have in this dynamic economy of yours. We are similar in many ways, Chile and Iceland. Not the weather, I promise you. It's a bit warmer here than we have now in Iceland. But there are many things that mean that we are more connected than we sometimes realize. Of course, our oceans, the huge oceans around Iceland, similar to what you hear, these amazing opportunities that we have in the blue ocean, if we are careful with it, if we realize the importance of having a sustainable industry and net zero waste that I'm going to be talking about. My main message here today is basically how did Iceland become what we call sort of zero waste, and is on its way to become a zero waste seafood industry. I think we have to realize today that sadly, in so many countries, there are so many parts of the seafood, both farmed and wild, that are thrown away. And in our minds, we tend to say, this is waste. There is no way for us to change that mindset in many cases. But we're talking about half of the fish. In Iceland, what we've done is to try to change that in the last 20 to 30 years. And we've been quite successful. So now in Iceland, we're using at least 90% of each fish. So the products that were thrown away in the past are now kept and created into a valuable product. And that's basically my message here today, is that we need certain things to happen to get this going in other countries. Just to give you an idea of what we were facing maybe 20, 30 years ago in Iceland, we saw an industry, the blue ocean was basically fisheries. Fisheries are a really important part of our economy, but at the same time we saw efficiency increasing. We were not going to catch more of the fish. So we saw that it was really kind of I wouldn't say surely a dying industry, but not an industry that would create new jobs for young people, interesting opportunities for entrepreneurs, etc. So we changed our mindset, I think, a bit. What we said to ourselves, we can do better. We are, of course, a nation in the Arctic, and the Arctic nations have been really busy with full utilization in the past. We have so few resources that we have had to treat them carefully. So what we decided to do was to change the mindset, to say we have lots of opportunities if we just treat our resources right, if we use the opportunities they have in the oceans, we can do better. But the crucial part here, the absolute crucial part here is to break down the silos. What I mean here is that this is the very typical situation in most countries, and not only in the blue ocean, but quite often all around. This has been my research for quite a long time. Basically, we are all in silos. There are academics in their silos, there are startups in their silos even, fisheries, whatever. They tend to stay on their own. So what we need to do is somehow to break down these silos and create more of a dynamic relationship network. If we do that, then suddenly people start to talk together. And this is what happened in Iceland. More fisheries were meeting the academics, the young students, and suddenly ideas came out that were of value to the economy. And what we did to begin with when we founded the Iceland Ocean Cluster was to map all the participants of what we call the blue economy of Iceland. Maybe the mapping itself was quite a large task, but in a small country, it was fairly easy. We just found all the companies that were in different parts, and we realized what kind of blue economy we had. But we realized also that we needed to connect these dots. If we didn't, then we would not have the dynamic industry that we could have if we are basically being in the silo thinking, which is so common. So what we did was just to basically start the communication, fostering collaboration between different parts. And we've had a tradition of trust in Iceland, so we were quite lucky with that we were able to see things in the past that had worked quite well by having this collaboration. But we realized also that more could be done. I had met too many young people that had said, I have no knowledge of the blue economy. I am going to do game technology, IT, something, but But I don't feel that, of course, my grandfather or grandmother were in fisheries, but that's dying out, so I don't really see an opportunity there. So we needed also to sort of call upon young people to say there are huge opportunities here. You have to realize them, and you have to step out and figure out a way to get to join this economy of ours, having all the oceans all around us. So we started a new project that we called the 100% Fish Project. And 100% Fish Project means basically to net waste, zero waste in the seafood industry, the circular economy of seafood. And we thought to ourselves, it's really important. So what Icelanders did was basically to look at what we're doing with the fish. In the past, this is what we did with the cod. Cod is a white fish, quite common in the North Atlantic. And we were mostly taking the fillets, exporting that bulk to other countries, extremely high quality fish, and then also taking the liver out, for instance, to do fish oils. But the rest of the story was a little bit more in the line of saying this is waste. But Icelanders changed that. So I'm emphasizing here also the fact that we need to look at the economics behind the whole thing. We were saying this cod was probably worth $50. What we're doing now in Iceland is taking the 100% cod. So suddenly we have lots of startups, lots of dynamic industries, small companies, large companies that are joining forces to create value from all parts of the fish. We are doing products that are the leather products from the fish skin. We have all kinds of products from the omega, from the fish oil. We have even the heads exported, dried, and these are pure proteins. These are proteins that still are lying around in the world, creating methane. Proteins that are used for landfill, proteins that are thrown into the oceans when we can do much, much better. So I'm just starting to tell you also that we are working on the other fish now, which is the salmon. And I'm glad to see that there are startups now in Chile that are working on this idea of finding out how they can do the same with your species here, whether it is the crustacean shells, farmed fish, etc. The only thing that I think is a little bit missing when I'm talking to the startups here in Chile and the innovators is there's a little bit silo in the investor field. So we need to get the investors involved. In Iceland, we have quite a lot of private wealth now joining the blue economy, joining these startups, and we need to get them involved here as well. It is the crucial part of the dynamic industry is to have investors involved. And there is private wealth here, and I challenge all of you to join forces to make things happen. What we're already doing in Iceland with the 100% salmon, we're not all the way there, but we're at least on our way, is suddenly we're creating all these products from the salmon. We have lots of companies now that are coming with new ideas. Many of them are startups, both retail products from sidelines. We have beauty products. We have health products. We have the leather products that I mentioned before, of course, the rose. So suddenly we are increasing the value. So even though it's hard for sometimes the industry to hear this, but the fact is we can do more with less. We might actually do more with less. And it's really important because sometimes we think it's always about increasing the output. The fact is, let's look at the production as we have today and create value from all the parts that we have. And what happens also, and that's the best part of the story, people, for instance, in the fishing small villages all around Iceland, people are coming back somewhat to work in this industry because they've studied marketing, they've studied chemistry and studied beauty products, etc. And suddenly they're coming back to work on some of these products to do new things. So the children of the fishermen are joining forces again. Instead of leaving their towns, coming back. I just want to show you how quick this has happened. So this is basically the timeline. We had this is how it started in Iceland. Fairly quickly, we increased it. In the year 2000, we had products coming. In 2010, more products coming with startups, coming with new ideas. And we're still seeing this happen. In the 2020, more and more is coming. So I think that's basically what we can do if we are clever enough to understand that we tend to be in silos. We need to break them up. We need to get the investors involved. We need to have the industry interested as well. And the industry as well understanding that things can change, both in wildcats, farmed, in seaweed. We had a brilliant presentation here earlier about the seaweed. There are huge opportunities here. But the opportunities will not be in the bulk. We need to be countries that are actually taking our knowledgeable young people to this new field, to this new space where we are creating beauty products, where we are creating health products and even pharmaceutical products from the fish. We call it the incredible fish value made in Iceland. And basically what this says is that we can do better with this industry. But we need you guys on board. We need new thinking, we need new skills. And that's one thing that has to be a part of the culture, is that the industry will be accepting the idea that new people will join to do other things with the products that are so amazing, these amazing proteins from the oceans. I want to take you just a little bit into the economics of this thing, just to give you an idea of the fish skin, for instance. We call it the economics of fish skin. Just to give you an idea, we need to have the industry involved, and to do so we need to show them as well that there is financial benefit if we take the net zero. This is where we are saying the circular economy is not just good for the society, not only good for the environment, it can also be a financial positive aspect of it. So what we do in Iceland, for instance, is that we take the fish skin and we create collagen protein. And this is worth around $20 a kilo now, the powder of the fish skin into collagen, which is sold all around the world now in various forms of beauty products. We can also do the leather products. Shoe and clothing production, for instance, is quite a lot in Iceland. I wanted to bring with me one piece because it's quite unbelievable how strong it is and how amazing. This is wolf skin, and I'm sure not many of you have heard of it, but this is real stuff. And this is certainly becoming a natural, sustainable leather that we can do in much larger scales. Keep in mind, when I'm talking about the Icelandic fisheries, 90% of our fisheries are certified as sustainable. So we're talking about, of course, the core has to be the sustainability of the industry. But as soon as we've got that clear, we can do all these things. The other thing that we're doing are all kinds of retail products. We have a very popular soda drink in Iceland that's called Collab now. I love the idea that we're actually all drinking fish, but that's basically what we do. We are actually quite happy with that this has led to a large industry where we are actually selling soda drinks now with fish collagen in it. And the most expensive product in Iceland is actually a fish skin as wound care. This is a product that's helping people, saving lives even, where the cod skin is actually laid on people that have had difficulties having their wounds healed, and it becomes a part of the skin and then falls off, but helps the natural skin to regenerate. And we're still talking about fisheries, guys. It's just a completely different ball game, but we have to get these people involved. We have to get the chemists on board. We have to get all kinds of university people doing studies, researchers, students, startups, etc. So this is one of my favorite pictures. This is actually showing you what is happening. The Icelandic seafood industry has developed into a dynamic blue economy where there is a need for completely different skills. We need the fishermen for sure. We need a strong and stable system there, but basically we need to have new people coming into the industry as well. I just wanted to emphasize here, this is what we expect the growth to be in Iceland. The 100% fish, this is the part where we're actually saying the circular economy is actually benefiting the economy. All these new products that are coming out are actually creating export value that are quite significant in terms of the economy now. And these are the waste streams, as people would say. I am emphasizing there should be no waste in the seafood industry. There's no need for it. It doesn't make sense for an industry, whether it is the algae industry, farming, or wildcats, to have anything that's called waste. So what can this do for our small coastal communities? Just briefly tell you that. We have small coastal communities in Iceland that are actually creating now value for the small community. So this does not have to be a big city thing. We have in the West Fjords of Iceland a company that is now worth over 1 billion. It's only a population of 4,000. It's this company that's making this wound care from fishing. We have a company in the north, in a small town in Iceland, that's called Primex, which is actually now becoming world leader in taking chitin from the shells of the prawns. It could be lobster in other countries, but this is what's happened. In my hometown in the Westman Islands, close to Iceland, they're building a world-class land-based salmon farming industry. This would not happen unless we had this collaboration going. A small town in the West Fjords of Iceland is now one of the largest producers of salmon leather in the world. So the leaders don't have to be in large cities. The leaders can be all around. But the challenge is big for us. The global challenge now is around 10 million metric tons of waste. 10 million metric tons, and I'm really being conservative here. 10 million metric tons is basically like 10 billion kilos. It might actually be 40 billion dishes, which is thrown away. So we're saying, no, there's no need for that. So what we're trying to do now is to expand the 100% fish model, get people involved. I would love Chile to be the 100% fish, there's 100% salmon country. There is an opportunity for you to take that and be 100% in everything that you're doing in all the food streams that you have. What we've done is to go global with this idea. And what we love is to see all the interest from the media all around the world in this idea. But we need more people on board. So what we've done also is to build these clusters now. The clusters are basically the idea that we have the silo busters. New clusters are being formed that are trying to bring people together. In the Great Lakes in the US, we have the same idea now. Clusters are working on the idea of creating value from waste streams. We're really happy to see that in the US there is a legislation out now on innovation clusters. This is formed in the line of the Iceland Ocean Cluster. So this is what we want to do. We want to connect these silos. That's the main message of my speech here today. But to do so, we need people like you. We need all people on board. And I'm so happy to show you these pictures of young and people that are into this blue scene in Iceland, whether these are people that are doing algae or technology, full utilization of fish, etc. Thank you so much.